Welcome to Inland Edition, where this season we're having conversations with people who represent nonprofit organizations working to make the Inland Empire a better place. My name's Joe Richardson. I'm a local attorney, Inland Empire resident, and your host. And today we're going to chat with Sabrina Gonzalez, the executive director of the Civil Rights Institute of Inland Southern California. As a voice for civil rights in the Inland Empire, CRISC, as they call it, provides public programming and children's programs focused on our region's civil rights history. They host art installations and performances at their exhibition space in downtown Riverside and support civil rights activities. Via their multimedia center, they produce oral history projects and civil rights audio and video productions, as well as create digital archives of materials. Raised in Mira Loma, California, and hailing from a working-class American-Mexican family, Sabrina Gonzalez is a first-generation college graduate. She has served as a substitute teacher, a coach, and a senior teacher counselor, and has dedicated her professional career to strengthening relationships in the community and capacity building through her work with youth and systematically excluded populations. Let's meet her now and learn more about how CRISC is affecting our everyday community. I'm proud to welcome from the Civil Rights Institute of Inland Southern California, and she's gonna give me the nickname for it in a second,
Yeah.
Sabrina Gonzalez. Sabrina, hi, how you doing?
I'm well, and yourself?
Okay, good. Now first, give me the nickname.
Got it. We call the Civil Rights Institute of Inland Southern California CRISC.
CRISC.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about your background and how you came to be in contact with CRISC.
I grew up in historic Mira Loma, so it's now Jurupa Valley. And I think from a very young age, it was really about community and community care. I come from a super nuclear, amazing, great parents, 3 sisters. And so it was kind of embedded in us to always look at community. The pandemic hit, right? And I was in international education. And so I wasn't quite sure what to do with that. And my dynamics at home had shifted. And so I actually went to a local bookstore. She was like, you know, you're overqualified for this position. And I was like, but I want, be a part of the community. And she then told me, but in a year or so, they're going to be opening up the Civil Rights Institute. And I think that you'd be a great leader for it. Your background, your education, you're about the region. You sound very, well-read, those things. And so my first day on the job in November 2022, she actually introduced me to one of the board members who happened to be stopping by for the Civil Rights Institute. And he said, oh, in a couple months, we may be dropping this position. It's coming out of the East Coast, which the agency was out of Boston, so it felt like alignment. And applied to interviews, met the amazing board members that were part of it and co-founders. And kind of that's how it went.
First of all, this is going to be revelation for folks that there is a Civil Rights Institute in Inland Southern California. So let's talk about what CRISC does, because that's going to be as informative as anything.
Perfect. So I think before we tell about what we do, I need to give a little history.
Yeah, sure.
Right? I think one big piece of it is like paying homage to the giants of shoulders that we stand on.
Right.
And so it came out of an idea from 2 co-founders, both legends in our region, Lali Acharya and Rose Mays. They took this leadership class together, and they were going to be multi-solvers, and they came up with this idea to find a way to put a very small dent in the need for housing in our region, to find a place in housing for office space for the Fair Housing Council of Riverside County, and to start highlighting and uplifting our civil rights history in the region. And so when they came up with that idea, that's how Mission Heritage Plaza was developed. And CRISC is the centerpiece of that. So this plaza is 92,000 square feet, 72 units of affordable workforce housing, office space for the fair housing. We have a diversity center that we hold programming. And then we have a exhibition center. So it's our Riverside African American Historical Society, call them RAWS. Their exhibition center, it was donated, money funded by them. And we then have a media center. And so all of those components come together to really be the Civil Rights Institute of Inland Southern California. Our exhibitions vary and change based on telling the story. Traditionally don't have the best history, right? There's some parts of our history that we're not proud of, but we need to tell those so that we can move forward. Our media center is a space for oral histories. Our goals are going to get into what we're doing around highlighting and people coming in to tell their stories. And then that diversity center is really important to us. It's programming. In our first year, we had over 10,000 visitors. It's free admission to our exhibition space. And then our diversity center, we had over 275 programs that are held in that space.
Wow.
And so there's a lot of community conversation. I like to say that we are the connectors.
Right,
So
sure.
we like to have discussions without disparaging.
I always talk about creating safe spaces to have difficult conversations. The conversations have to happen, but how do you create a space where you have people that might think something different, but there's enough mutuality and it's recognized where people can have a respectful dialogue and conversation that must be, it's always important, but maybe even just that much more right now with things seeming so divisive.
Absolutely. And I think what's been beautiful about that is one, it's part of my leadership style, right? We're very community centered. I'm not here to change your mind.
Right.
The Civil Rights Institute of Inland Southern California is not here to make up a decision for you. We're here to provide you with information. So I look at it a little bit as like a coaching style.
Right.
We are giving you all the information. You can decide from there. And so we are just hoping to cause pause.
Right.
And if we cause enough pause, you'll get to think, you'll get to reflect, and then you can have these conversations that really allow to be solution-oriented
Right.
and to look and uplift the greater collective, right? We're bridging those gaps because a lot of times it's misinformation. A lot of times it's not knowing that the information existed to begin with. And so the more we can do that, the more we can actually cause positive impact and highlight these change makers that are doing the hard work.
And it sounds like also you coordinate with a lot of other organizations. You say there's 270 programs there.
Yeah, in our first year, so we opened in January 2023, and in our first year we had, I think, 278 programs that are happening there. Some we're leading, others are leading, a lot of collaboratives. And so I like to look at us as the bridge, we're the connector. Even people coming to us, we're finding that people are like, hey, there's this group that we've been trying to get in touch with. You have a great relationship. And so this kind of is like this highlight of these unsung heroes, a highlight of the programming. It focuses on community advocacy. It also keeps allowing people to show up for each other.
Right.
Our opening celebration had about 1,800 folks at it.
Wow.
Then our closing for our first exhibit and you know, conversation around our first year, we had 300 folks that showed up, right?
Wow.
And I think that is an ode to us being embedded in the community and people that are looking for us to be a hub to tell these stories and to continue to make them public facing so we can enhance our work from there.
What would you say is something that folks just don't know about inland civil rights history that you would want them to know?
That it's so rich. We have so much history here, and we're not talking about it. Even for the outside of our building, we have this amazing Walk of Fame. Currently, it's 27 of our civil rights leaders from the region, and people walk it all around, and they're like, I had no idea this happened. They didn't know that Cesar Chavez came to our region to learn how to organize, right? They didn't know that the Rose Mazes of the world that started an organization like this and founded it are still doing work in the housing realm, right? And so I think it's knowing that we've done so much work here in the region that has not only impacted our area, but statewide, nationwide. And so I want them to take a finer look and be proud of discussing the history, even in our harshest moments. But we can't move forward. We can't build a better future. We can't champion our future if we don't acknowledge the history that's coming from our region.
So tell me about your role, if any, as thought leader. And maybe not even so much thought leader, because in terms of this is what we ought to think, because you just said you're not there to change people's minds. But I think one element of being a thought leader is the idea that people ought to be communicating and having discussions. And as simple as that might sound, to me, just you and I, just me with me saying it, it's certainly much harder in actuality. So, talk about you guys' role from a leadership standpoint in terms of really helping us think around the corner and take us to where we need to go.
I appreciate that question. I think it's unique for us. So we are looking to foster community advocacy with the space that we hold, with the exhibitions. But recently, there's been a conversation about what are the call to actions. And I think that's where we are really going to do a big service, is because we're connecting and we're bridging those gaps, is that we're going to highlight organizations that are fully dedicated to a specific cause. And this hub idea that we're discussing, and recently someone said that we were considered third place, and that was really beautiful for me. Especially, I had just read the New York Times article on like what third places meant. That by us causing pause and drawing more people in, we're actually making people feel comfortable with the idea of learning. And this innovative educational piece is what's going to keep people coming back and looking to each other. And that, to me, is huge when we want to build community and we want to build sustainability around change and just doing better and being better.
Tell me about what you would say in terms of your wish list for civil rights in this area and how you see your organization as part of it.
So I think in terms of us, it's again being that hub, to be the safe space for conversation, to discuss what's happening, and for people to call us in, right? There's an accountability. I'm not going to get everything right as executive director. I'm not going to get everything right in these stories. But the more we can have conversation and we can highlight these stories, when we have panel discussions to emphasize what's going on, we like to call ourselves a living enterprise based in history, so that it's continuously moving. As much as we're looking in the rearview mirror, we also have to look towards the future. And so one of my wish list items is that we continue to build these community connections so it will have more conversation. And when people are looking to have a tough conversation, they're going to call us. When they're looking to screen a documentary on our area, they're looking to us to hold that space for them and to connect them with other organizations that are doing a lot of the similar work.
So, I mean, your organization is really new, and the hardest part about an organization often is starting out, right? But it sounds like what you do is so unique and really is filling an absolute void. Even though you're just at the beginning and you're dealing with a million things, if I asked you to tell me what the things are that you're the most proud of, what would come to mind?
So we're very unique in the sense of our history too. So 2006-07, the idea came up with this space. 2012, we became a nonprofit. Our 2012-2013 becoming a nonprofit. And then we opened our doors in 2023. So yes, the facility being up, the exhibition, the public portion of it is very new. But I think we've been running so fast with it that we're running like we're a 5-year organization and we've only been open for a year and a half. And so I think for us, the proudest moments have been the community engagement. When in our first year, you've had over 10,000 visitors to a space that was only open 3 days a week, right? That we have people continuously showing up, people wanting to highlight it. I think that is such a proud moment. Also, that people are designating us as the space to stay connected with. And so having, like I said, over 10,000 visitors, having the amounts of programming, 40 new partners, 100 plus school tours, that is the big impact. And there's so much pride in that. And I'm just excited to be a part of it, like to be their first ever executive director, to be in my hometown, for people to come in, like even this digital archiving, getting invited to these conferences, like we are showing up authentically, and we're being so welcomed by the community that that's exciting.
Right. Is there a specific conversation that you would like your place to help facilitate? Again, we know, we figured out, we know that you're not telling people to change their mind. You want to basically really be a conduit to help people come together, recognize mutual humanity, and and go forward. But is there a conversation? You ever look at the news? You ever look at what's going on? Read the paper and say, that conversation is one this country, this area really needs to have, and it will be great for us to help facilitate it.
That's a really good question. And I think it's funny, my mind is going all over because
Right.
I think there are so many people that have come to us for conversations.
Gotcha.
And I think that's where we've decided in our strategic visioning and what's going on is right. There are so many civil rights things that are happening across the country, across the nation. And so we've really tried to be mindful of focusing on how it impacts our region.
Sure.
So that one, we aren't stepping out of our bounds of conversation
Right.
on what we're facilitating, and also what our reach can be.
Right.
And so I think one of the biggest conversations I just would like to have is our intergenerational conversations.
Sure.
I think that I've been in spaces where we have folks saying that newer generations don't want to know the history. And then we have newer generations that say, the history doesn't want to know us. And so I would love to continue, and we've started this, but continue to really take some time to focus on multi-generational conversations.
Sure.
That would be really special to us because I think that no matter where your culture and where you reside and where your beliefs are, there's a lot to be learned from each other. And the more we can have those multi-generational conversations, the more we can kind of pinpoint where these divides have happened and how we bring it back. And also that we don't have wonderful and amazing organizations in history die off when those folks leave with it, right? We're really ensuring that we're passing it on, we're able to champion the next steps to it. And also that we are evolving.
Right.
That's huge for me, is that we, if I'm saying the same things I was saying 20 years ago, we got to reassess.
Sure.
And so to be in these spaces that we can have real, true conversation, in multi-generational ways would be special for me.
So, speaking of 20 years, let's look 10 years, let's look 20 years. If you have your druthers, what is your organization doing 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Well, what does the future hold if you're able to do the things that you want to do in the meantime? Where are we?
We're sustained, right? There's infrastructure to it. So building sustainability, the grants, the funding, the programming, educational outreach, these exhibitions that are turning over smoothly, but that people are coming to that space, that those 10,000 in a first year turns to 20, 30, 40,000, and that we build similar spaces elsewhere. And so that people can highlight their history, know what's going on, and that we keep engaging folks, right? So that we are kind of a leading space. When something tough comes up, people are like, okay, we already know the Civil Rights Institute of Inland Southern California is having that conversation, right? CRISC is doing the work. That would be a mainstay, but that they're sustained. Right? A lot of times nonprofits come about, and unfortunately without infrastructure or things like that, or you feel a need is being met, you can't keep it going. And I would love to see that it's going strong. The conversations have shifted, right? There's been a lot of beautiful changes in the world, that maybe the conversations get a little less divisive, but that we're still having them and people feel like it's important to have them.
So tell us about your volunteers.
Awesome. So we have some really dedicated volunteers. As I mentioned, we're a really, really small unit. For some time was the only full-time staff. And so these volunteers have picked up. We have an amazing volunteer coordinator, consultant. I call her Dawn of all trades, Dawn Hassett. She's been really supportive in helping us with our exhibitions, with the day-to-day, and also building out volunteer coordinator duties. And so we consistently have people that come in and answer phones. We have docents, and what's really special, they get trained on what exhibit is up, and they come in and invite other groups and they tour them. And they really do everything, and they really are the main staple for how we stay and keep our doors open. And I'm hopeful to keep inviting more volunteers to come in when we have events and kind of give them a taste of what's here, but also to have a pride in the work that's happening.
And speaking of volunteers, let's go talk to a prospective volunteer as well as a volunteer consultant.
I'm Yvette Dubell, and we're here at the Civil Rights Institute in Riverside, California. I'm here today to see the new Coachella exhibit. I'm from North Carolina, so I have my own experience with racism and how to survive, endure, thrive in spite of. I think that there is certainly much more that unites us than divides us. I think that that's what I see when I see these exhibits when I come here. This is the second time that I've been to this center. And it's been very informative for me as a new Californian to learn about the history of my new home. I think the fact that the space exists is an inspiration. There's nothing like this in the town that I left. So that said something to me immediately when I moved here. And I've met Miss Mays on other occasions and had conversation with her and learning about her commitment to the community. It just makes me want to be a part of the future of Riverside.
My name is Dawn Hassett. I am a volunteer consultant for the Civil Rights Institute. We have a wonderful exhibitions program. We change our exhibitions 3 times a year, and they are always focusing on some aspect of civil rights, and they're virtually always anchored in the inland region and our community. So this is a history that people don't know. To be able to bring those stories home to the people in the region where the stories actually took place, that makes a big difference. So that's why people should come. These are not stories you can get anywhere else. It creates a atmosphere and an opportunity to have the important and serious conversations that don't really often occur as a part of daily life. And we don't often make space to have conversations about the world around us and what we see in society and the world around us.
So tell us about where things are. I think I know, but let's, where the complex is, and also how people can otherwise, like the days of the week it's open, that kind of thing, and how people can get more information. Give us some homework. If somebody's interested, they want to get online and click like right now.
Perfect.
Tell them how to do it.
Got it. So we're located in downtown Riverside. So I say if you lead with your belly, then we're across from Tio's Tacos.
Okay.
If you lead with the intellectual knowledge, then we're at a diagonal from the new main library in downtown Riverside.
Sure.
And then if you're into arts and theater, then we're right behind the Fox Theater.
Right. Oh,
so
wow.
We're really centralized located. And our website, inlandcivilrights.org, is a great place. Our social media. Currently, we're running that, but we'll get that up and going and a little bit better. But it is Inland Civ Rights for most of our handles. Right. And, we're just a phone call away. We're open to the public Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 12 to 5. But we also have an event calendar on our website. Okay. And that allows to tell you about events that we're running, but also the other events that are happening. Right. And we have this beautiful electronic signage right outside. Okay. So even if you're passing by to check out one of the other local spaces, which we really encourage, if you come see us, just come see other things that are happening downtown, and you can get a sneak peek in some of the events that are happening.
So tell us about mission, values, the things that you'd want us to know about that.
Sure. So our mission is really to inspire people of all ages by uplifting the civil rights, the historical civil rights and current stories, fostering community advocacy, and just really championing the future. The values are interesting. They're inclusive, collaborative, and good trouble. Right. I recognize that's John Lewis's phrase, but it really came together from our co-founders and co-visionaries, Lalette Acharya and Rose Mays. And the idea is whether we're causing it or advocating for it, we're really focused on this good trouble. We can't kind of keep pushing forward if we're not acknowledging that importance and significance of Good Trouble and all the work of civil rights.
Right. I think John Lewis would be proud of that. So now we know about CRISC. Sabrina, I want to thank you so much for being here on Ellen Edition and continue doing the work of Good Trouble.
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity. It was great being here.
And there you have it. Once again, another wonderful organization doing great work in the Inland Empire. Keep watching us. Tell folks. We're on YouTube. And not only are these episodes there, but there's also additional content, bonus content. So keep joining us as we have conversations. Keep joining us as we keep sharing wonderful information about great organizations doing life-saving work in the Inland Empire. Till then, Joe Richardson signing off.